Hi guys, thanks for clicking on this. I do appreciate you being with me again. So first of all, a few shout outs. I'd like to say thanks to Kira for letting me know that the idea of a class within a class was very useful to her. That was in clip number 9, which I think is probably one of the most useful clips on the channel so far. I'd recommend you go and have a look at that one if you haven't already seen it. Shout out to Emma for telling me that the idea of asking why we're doing things was useful to her. That was clip number 17. Again, it's there. If you haven't seen it, you might want to have a little look. And finally, a big thank you to Ira for sharing a link to this channel on her Instagram account, and hello chaps to those of you that came via that. Marvellous. And guys, you're always welcome to share a link to the channel on your social media if you find the ideas useful and if you think somebody else will. So we've been talking about, or I've been talking about, trying to get teenagers to talk. And we've looked at a few reasons why speaking activities might not work. We've thought about the quiet ones. We've also thought about when students just run out of steam on a speaking activity. There's another reason that students might not talk in our lessons. And it might be because they simply don't have the level to put into words the answers to the questions we're giving them. So today I'd like to look at a practical technique that will help the lower level learners. And it works with teenagers, it also works with adults. And what we do is we basically reverse engineer the question and we give them the answer first. I think I've covered this, I've mentioned this in, sorry, hair in my mouth. I've mentioned this in chapter 21 of Understanding Teenagers. This is the point at which I hold the book up for you to see. There it is. It's my methodology book for teenagers, and it's going over there. So let's imagine we have on the board to start the lesson a number of sentence stems. That's what I'm calling them. So we've got I'm allergic to, we've got I'm lucky I'm not allergic to anything, we've got I'm, and I get. So then we start going around the room. So Paul, I'm allergic to, I'm not allergic, teacher. Ah, great, okay, can you say this? I'm lucky I'm not allergic to anything. Yes, teacher. Yeah, go on, say it. Paul says it. Great stuff. Maria, I'm allergic to tomatoes, teacher. Oh, interesting. So we write that here, tomatoes. And then we go around somebody else over here. Maybe they're allergic to dust. We might need to give them that word. They might not have it. Another student says they're allergic to tomatoes. We don't need to write it twice. We go around again. Somebody else says, I'm allergic to gluten, teacher. Ah, okay. Well, we don't actually say I'm allergic to gluten. We say I'm gluten intolerant. We keep going around the class, making sure that everybody's got an answer. Somebody else says, I'm allergic to pollen, teacher. Ah, okay. So what we say there is, I get hay fever. Can you say it? Excellent, well done. Okay, once we've gone round everybody, we leave this here, and then we move on to another set of language stems. For example, something like this. I can't stand, I'll eat anything and everything. So, Paul, I can't stand. Oh, I can't stand, and then he tells us an L1 word for happens to be liver. Can't stand liver. So we write that. We say, and what about other types of related things like kidneys? Do you like kidney? No, teacher. Okay, so I think what you're looking for is offal. I can't stand offal. That's brains, intestines, tripe, stuff like that. Another student can't stand onions, etc. And we keep going round, we keep getting everybody to say it, so they've all got their sentences here. Okay, so the board fills up. This is going to take some time, and the larger the class, the longer it's going to take. But we're giving them the language they're going to need for the next part. Once we have our board filled up, and at this point in this video, if I manage to do it, I might pause momentarily and show you what the board might look like at this point. Then we can give them the questions, and the questions bear an uncanny resemblance to the stems we've just helped them complete. For example, do you have any allergies? Is there any food you can't stand? We might also have used the stem before. I'm particularly fond of, and we've gone through that as well, so they've got the answer to this question. Now, if we display these questions and we leave all the stems and the language that we help them with, then they can put 2 and 2 together. They can ask the questions and we'll see them, especially the low-level students, we'll see them asking the questions, then looking to the language that we gave them so that they can answer the question. What we've done is, like I said, we've reverse engineered it. We've given them the answers first, the language they need to solve the problem that the questions pose. And this is a surefire way to make sure that your speaking activity with lower level students works. Now, obviously, as you're going round with your completing your sentence stems, we want to make this as quick as we can. You don't need to write down every single thing they say. For example, if one of them says, I'm allergic to peaches, as long as they can say that, we don't need to write the word peaches. If they can't remember the word peaches, then we write the word peaches. So we make sure they've got the language they need when it comes to the speaking questions. Now, I think in Understanding Teenagers, there's actually a downloadable resource, and I've provided about 100 sentence stems and corresponding questions. But the way that you can do it, if you don't have that, is simply take your questions, the questions that you're going to want to give your students, and don't show them the questions to start with. Just think about what language stems they will need in order to answer the questions. And you can normally, the first part of the answer is normally fixed, and that's what I call the stem. And then the personalization comes in the various variables that the students will give you, and that's what you're helping them with in the lesson. Now, in the last couple of clips, I did suggest that we give our learners sets of 10 questions, but this is a different technique. So when we're doing things this way, the maximum amount of stems you're likely to be able to prepare is about 5. And then we give them the 5 questions, and they're using the stems to answer the questions. We might want to repair them to get some more mileage and get some more practice out of it, and then ask them to do the same again, but try to look at the language on the board a little less often, and then to repair them again and ask them if they can do it without looking at the board even once. So they're drawing the language from the board and becoming more self-reliant. They're assimilating the language, we hope. So it's a slightly different technique, this one, than giving them longer sets of questions. We're doing the language work up front, and then the questions are the consolidation, almost. Right, if that helps you, please come back and let me know. Strength and energy with your teaching.